I guess we should have decided how far into it you want me to start.
That's it, because this will be the images, you know, if it's YouTube or whatever, we won't even be,
Right.
yeah, this will just be the,
But when do I start talking?
I'll tell you.
What?
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Cue you in, I'll count you in.
Mm-hmm. Welcome. Mad Hatter Industries presents the Ruck and Rise podcast.
We're here helping others rise out of their comfort zones, facing adversities head on, while providing a safe space to have open, honest, difficult conversations in order to keep moving forward.
We'll also cover topics such as fitness, mental health, positive mindset, and more. We invite you to join us on our Ruck and Rise journey. We are your hosts, Allie Brown, soon to be Curvin.
And I'm Dave Curvin.
Disclaimer, we are not mental health professionals, nor do we claim to be. If you or someone you love is struggling, we encourage you to seek help from a professional. You can contact CMHA, the Canadian Mental Health Association, at 1-833-456-4566.
All right.
Yeah, right.
All right,
Yeah, we
welcome.
did it. Yeah,
Here
okay.
we are. We're getting right into it. This is episode 1 of Ruck and Rise. And so Allie's going to take us through a little bit of introduction on how this came to life and some meaning behind even the title Ruck and Rise and the whole symbolism.
That's a hard word to say.
Words are difficult. Symbolism
Yeah.
behind that.
All
So
right. We're just real people doing a thing.
that's it.
So I had been thinking about doing a podcast for a couple years. I couldn't decide on what I wanted to talk about or who I wanted to do it with for a long time. And we're not really doing the whole thing right now, are we?
As much as we can.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think we flow with it, we talk, and,
Okay.
and yeah, we get a sense of just
How-
flowing off of
yeah,
each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one day when I was walking one of my clients' dogs, thinking, which is one thing that I do when I'm walking, it occurred to me like a brilliant flash of light. Dave is who I want to do my podcast with. What we're going to talk about is mental health and a whole bunch of other things as well. And one thing that was really lacking was I'm not very good at technology, and I was terrified to learn. Still am. And then I thought, Kendra, she understands tech.
You're just gonna bring her right into it.
We're gonna bring her. Well, she doesn't have to talk.
No,
she can
yeah.
just give a nod from. But we got to give her credit because this wouldn't be possible without her support,
Exactly.
emotionally, mentally, and physically for doing all the tech stuff because it's hard. And anywho, that's how we came to be.
That's how it came to life. Yeah.
That's how it sort of came to life. And then we spinballed a whole bunch of names for a month or 2 months, maybe. Playing around, I knew I wanted Rise to be in it somehow. That word is really important to me. It has helped me through some difficult times. I'll give a quick example. When Joshy was a baby, and he would be having a bit of a tantrum or having a hard time with some feelings, and to keep myself from completely losing it, I would just repeat to myself in my head or sometimes whisper, Rise patience, or Rise whatever I needed, which was usually more patience. So I would repeat over and over, Rise patience, Rise patience, Rise patience. And that, I don't know where it came from. It just was something that sort of happened in the moment. And I've gone back to that word Rise many times in my life. And I'm also a morning person, so just rising in the morning is something I look forward to. I do look forward to going to bed too, because sleep is important, but I love the morning, so that sunrise and that kind of thing too just ties into who I am as a person. So that was how Rise came about, and then Ruck is super important to us as a couple, as a community, one of the communities that we're really involved in, which is kind of Army, first responders, that kind of thing. So Dave, if you want to give a definition of what rucking actually is, so people understand what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I'll just kind of back it up a little bit, just to tie in, how we came about coming up with this whole podcast idea. I think every one of us out there has faced some challenges in life. I'm in my 40s myself. Allie's a young one in her 30s still. But, you don't have to be very far into life to come across challenging times and stressors in life that sometimes can overwhelm you and leave you with a sense of uncertainty and just an overwhelming feeling of, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this. I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this. And so we together, Allie and I, and we're blessed with knowing quite a great circle around us, be it military family members or family itself, or just a great circle of friends. We have a great support network around us, and over the past few years we've connected immensely with people that are like-minded and sort of want to come together and boost one another up. And so Allie had this this great idea. We both had this great idea of kind of creating our own platform and our own sort of safe space for people to have a listen, to hear us tackle some challenging subjects and some tough times. Again, myself personally, I've had those tough days, those really gloomy, dark days where I was really uncertain, how I was going to carry through, how I was going to see through, the clouds, and in my 40s, I'm able to look back now and kind of go, that seemed like quite a challenge at the time, but I've put in the tool, I've established tools in my toolbox that feel like I can kind of face anything. And I think Allie herself has also faced some challenging times and adversities, especially within the last several months and this year in particular. So we decided to come together, create this platform, this safe space to have difficult conversations, not just about mental health, but also about physical health as well. I think we both agree that goes hand in hand.
Absolutely.
If you're going to have strong mental health, a lot of it comes from having a strong physical health attachment with it as well. So again, you strengthen the body, you strengthen the mind, you can face more and more. So now we fast forward again back to the title, Ruck and Rise. You'll get the sense that I like to ramble on, and
I'll try to keep it
and Allie will
on track.
do her best to keep me in line and say, "Come on, Dave, back to the point."
Mm-hmm.
So back to the point, back to the title, Ruck and Rise. So we talk about ruck. Allie got herself involved in rucking, or
I
got Allie hooked on rucking, and it stems from military terminology. So military, the pack that we carry, weighted pack on our back that we carry into operation or into the field, that has all our mission essential kit and all our supplies that we need to sustain ourselves for an extended period of time, like I say, out in the field or out in operation. That's referred to as a rucksack. So we shorten it down just to the ruck. So getting out for a ruck or going rucking or for a ruck march, essentially that just translates into going for a walk or a hike,
or a run.
I was going to say we do challenge ourselves and run with the pack on, which is again quite common in military setting.
But if you want to, sorry Dave, if you want to try it at home, just get a backpack and put some weights in it, and off you go. Start with a walk. This slow walk, it counts, and it adds an extra challenge.
It does, yeah.
Physically and mentally, because it sounds stupid. And that's literally what I thought when Dave asked me if I wanted to go rucking. I said, no, that sounds stupid. I'll never do that.
Yeah. So
I think those were my exact words.
Pretty much. Yeah. So for myself, it was mandatory. Being a military member, that I did have to go for ruck marches, and I did have to go for extended periods of time with this pack on my back. In the field. Another disclaimer, I'm not a combat vet. I haven't been in any combat environments, so I've been blessed that the rucksack for me is a training tool at the moment, but we always prepare for kind of the worst scenario, the worst case scenario. So but yeah, for me, it was part of training. So I would throw the ruck on, and like anything I tackled in life, when it's come to fitness, I want to sort of I set a higher standard for myself that I want to achieve. And so that was no different when it came to training to go on a ruck march. I would put the pack on my own time, and I would head out the door and try and, go for 5 or 10 kilometers. And, I'd come home, I'd look at my watch and I go, okay, well, I did it in that time. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to try and pick up the pace, and I'm going to push it a little bit harder. And again, as Ali said, I probably suggested to her one time, hey, you should try this. You should, because we got involved. We met actually through going for a run together. So
well, we met at an animal shelter, but that's an episode for another time. Story for another episode.
Exactly. But
the first time we hung out,
our first date, our first hangout was going for a run together. So. I've always been a runner, and Allie, became a runner. As fitness developed in her later stages in her 30s.
No, I've been a runner for a long time.
Been a runner for a long time.
Thank you, though.
All right, so we'll cover that better till Tuesday night. Anyways, so Allie. So we started as running, and then over time, like I say, I would.
He would rock and I would run.
Exactly, and then I said, you should try this, and she said,
no.
That's stupid. She actually did say that is stupid. I'm not going to do that
because it looked hard, and I thought, why would I want to do that? Running is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. You're not gonna. Nothing's gonna
The army wasn't calling her.
Yeah, it's just try it. You don't like it, whatever. So I tried it, and I did like it, and we walked first couple times,
right.
And then we would walk and just run on the downhill parts, and then one day, I just kept running.
Yeah,
I did, and I ran past him,
and I remember,
he was shocked.
And I remember saying, we can stop, and her exact words were, well, we'll get it done faster if we just keep running.
It's true, and I still say that.
Yeah.
I actually find it easier to run with the pack on than to walk.
Yeah. So
it's like a weird mental thing. I don't know.
It is.
I really like it.
And there you go. And that sort of leads us to this whole kind of rising out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself past limits that maybe you thought you had in place, but those are boundaries and limits that you decided to take away those barriers or knock down those barriers and push past them. And that's exactly what Allie did. Started out running and then decided, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to put this pack on my back with some weight, and I'm going to start out walking. And then, that became a little bit easier and a little bit more comfortable. So then she started running with it, and it was no different for me as well. That's how I started out, just a fast-paced walk and then into a run. And even to this day, I still sometimes train with other troops, and it's a 2-minute run, 2-minute walk sort of thing. But that's all the pieces and all the tools there that just allow us to push a little bit further out of our comfort zone. And that's exactly what we're doing here with this podcast. Yep. Is encouraging others and talking about our own experiences, encouraging others to push those barriers out of the way or knock those barriers down and push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, because you'd be surprised at what you can achieve and how far that can take you, not only physically, but just with that mental component to that mental health component of, kind of going, hey, I was able to tackle this. I didn't think I could do this, but, I told myself I'm going to do it. So I pushed myself. It's no different when something, challenges arise in your day-to-day life or week to week, and you kind of go, this is pretty overwhelming, I don't know how I'm going to get through it. But you find a way to make it work, or you reach out and you connect with someone that maybe has gone through similar challenges, and you go, how did you handle that? You seem to have gotten through it okay. And so here we are today.
Here we are, yeah.
Yeah, here we are today.
You grow so much as a person and learn so much about yourself and just build so much self-trust. And when you have that, and you have that good feeling in your gut, like, well, I did this hard thing, and now I'm going through this other hard thing, but you can look back and think, well, I did that. And I had friends to help me and everything like that. But it just, I don't know, that self-trust part is huge too.
I think it is.
So that's how it kind of all ties in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of leads me to, so this whole circle, this whole network that we've been blessed with, being involved with individuals through Mad Hatter Industries. Corey Hatt in particular is the individual that spearheaded and created Mad Hatter Industries. It's a veteran represented community that look out for each other, and that have and the forefront of it is veteran suicide and preventing veteran suicide
and first responders.
And first responders. Yeah. So again, we've been blessed with sort of meeting these individuals along our travels through military connections or first responder connections. And it's all sort of developed this huge network of support. And just the other day, I was listening to, because there's numerous podcasts out there supporting mental health initiatives, and I think it's fantastic. We agree, like the more the merrier. It just because you can gain knowledge and you can gain tips and information from every single one of them that's out there. So just the other day, I was listening to a podcast group of individuals, The Collective, which Chance Burles, I believe, is the one who created that, but he often has numerous guests on, and Sean Taylor is one of them. He's out west. Fantastic individual to listen to and to gain knowledge from, a background as an athlete and then an elite soldier himself. But on their podcast, Sean was talking about stresses that he faced, or that stresses that individuals face in their 20s versus what you face in your 40s, and you can kind of look back and kind of go, those stressful times that you face now, like you have all the tools in your toolbox because of the stressful times that you faced in your 20s, that you thought, this is overwhelming. This is so much. And now you look at it and you go, stresses you face now, you kind of go, well, yeah, no problem. I got it, because all those challenges,
you've been through so much already.
All those challenges that you faced in your 20s. Yeah, exactly. You faced them, you overcame them, you got through them, and they pale in comparison sometimes to what you face in your 40s or compare your 20s. But at the time, it's like any phase in life. What you know in your 20s, that's all you know in your 20s.
Yeah, and
what we know
20
in
years
our 40s,
from now, we'll be sitting here laughing about what we're going through now.
Exactly, and
it's just
I
part
have
of
to
life.
and I have to remind myself as a parent of a young man in his early 20s. And when he talks about, the stress and the things that go on
but for him
in his
it
life,
is.
exactly. Yeah. That's
he's
where he
figuring
is.
out.
He's living that moment right now. So what we see, I have to stop myself from comparing the stresses that I face in my 40s, because he hasn't hit those yet.
No.
But I know he'll have the tools, to get through it. He's getting through, stresses now and overcoming things in his 20s. So just building blocks for leading up to, later in life. And
and you can't have the joy and the happiness without the dark days and the sorrow. They go together. As much as we would prefer to just have all the joy, it doesn't work like that. You need both. I've been listening to a podcast. Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts. One I've been listening to lately is What's Your 20? And I can't think of the name's host, so I will look that up for sure. But she is a first responder and interviews a lot of first responders and talks about a lot of stuff like that. And big on suicide prevention and kind of what we're talking about too. But yeah, they were talking about in one of the episodes I was listening to how you have to have both. You can't just have all sunshine rainbows. You need the light to have the dark, and they can go together. And even in like the same day or the same hour, you can be feeling both at the same time. It's really weird. This is a new concept that I've been thinking about lately, so I'll have to circle back to this.
Yeah.
Because I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And we'll touch base here on this sort of intro first episode here on some personal background behind us. So myself, sports have been a part of my life since, I don't know, as early as I can remember. I think my parents had me in figure skating when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and then into power skating and hockey and track and field. I developed a great passion for track and field and sprinting. I always wanted to run fast. I always wanted to go fast. And so sports have always been a major part of my life. So that means that fitness has also been a major part of my life. And being in a team sport, even an individual sport, if you're ever training or you're ever competing at a certain level, you develop a certain mindset that enables you to push past limits. Whether it be training with a heart rate monitor where you literally have a red zone or red limit. And I've been on the bike, been mountain bike racing and cycling, and I've had the heart rate monitor on, and I've just looked down at the computer and it's flashing, that I'm hitting my limit, like I'm in my red zone, and it's 185 beats per minute, 190 beats per minute, 195 beats per minute. And if you get wrapped up in that, sometimes you sort of you lose sight of being able to actually push past what your brain is telling you is what I'm seeing, what I'm visualizing, what I'm seeing is, holy shit, my heart rate
explode.
Exactly, my heart rate is through the roof. I'm probably gonna have to stop going at this pace pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had a lot of training with that mindset, but then I've also had phases where I've left the technology for a whole year sometimes with training, because you need to go by feel. Sometimes you need to be out on the bike, or you need to be out running, or you need to be physically active, and just almost, I wouldn't say switch the brain off, but listen to the body and trust that your body is going to be able to take you past or through that threshold. And again, so it comes back to that level of training and that level of competition. Being able to push past, it just strengthens your mind as well. So you look at it with challenging times.
Which helps you when you reach a challenging time in your life.
Exactly.
The physical, yeah, it preps you for all the bullshit that we have to wade through and deal with.
It does.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of credit to challenges that I've overcome that have been really trying on my mind and mentally draining, but I've gotten through them. I give a lot of credit to the physical aspect, to the sports aspect, and the fitness aspect, that mindset that I've been able to create over a period of many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Dave, do you want to give a briefer overview of your back?
Yeah. So that was a start. 5 minutes. I had background and then sports. And so
okay.
As you can hear there,
it's all relevant.
I
it's
went
all
on
good, but
I went on a
10-minute
tangent on sports.
I'm bringing you back. Okay, fast forward.
So fast forward, sports part of my life, fitness always been a part of my life. that led me into a career in 23-year career in the profession of massage therapy.
Lucky me.
Where, yeah, there you go. Where it led me to work with athletes, work with sports-minded individuals, and varying from amateur kind of weekend warriors, much like myself, to Olympic level athletes, and taken me to various places around Canada and into the U.S., training camps and things like that. And so it also enabled me to have an education of the body, of what the body is capable of, and what the brain as well is capable of, and understanding what certain things manifest as, and what certain things look like, and can present themselves. So very blessed in that setting. And then fast forward again, later in life, I wanted to challenge myself further. I wanted to try something different, and I always had an interest in the military, in the Army. A close friend of mine who 2 tours in Afghanistan, and I met him through rock climbing years ago, and kind of hung on every.
Will hopefully be a guest on our show sometime.
That's exactly. Yeah, he and his wonderful partner.
Yeah, I'd love to have him.
Both been through some challenging times and periods, and we hope that they'll both join us in our little basement studio here at some point. But anyways, I met Mike through rock climbing, and as I say, I hung on to every word that he said when he talked about his experiences in the military. And again, it came into a period of my life where I needed a new challenging experience, something to push myself out of my comfort zone. And so I joined the Army later in life. And
were you like 39 when you joined?
Yep. Yeah. And
nailed it.
And
that's what she said.
And you may hear that a few times, yeah. But I absolutely love the military. I'm a reservist with the Hastings Reserve Regiment, and I think part of the reason that I love it so much is the fact that I am a reservist. So I do it part-time. I'm not on base. I'm not posted here and there. We're not moving every few years.
No, thank you.
So, and in the reserve world, you get in or you get out as much as you put into it. So the fact that I have a passion for it, I put a lot into it because I want a lot out of it for myself and for those around me. I want them to have a similar experience, and so far for me, it's been great. But it's also enabled me to push myself into different new comfort zones, and allowed me to come into new sporting physical challenges, physical events. Probably the most challenging thing that I have done maybe in my life, certainly in many years, was competing in the Iron Warrior competition in 2019 with my great friend Sean Francis, who won the event.
Who will also be a guest on the show.
Yeah, we'll have that guy on here too. He's got lots of things to say. Talk more than I will.
I won't even get a word in.
No, there'll be lots of jokes on that one. Yeah. Anyways, Sean won the event in 2019 in a ridiculous time of 5 hours 39 minutes or something like that. And I was for our regiment, I was the next one to come across the line 2 hours after he finished up. But again, a 50-kilometer race with minimum 40 pounds on the rucksack, and 32 kilometers of it just a ruck march, and then they throw a canoe on your back, and you got to portage that for 4.5 kilometers. So now it's about 100 pounds on your back, and you hate every step of the way, and you want to quit, you want to stop, for that portage portion. You don't think you're going to make it through, and then you do, because you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you just keep, you shut your brain off, and you tell it to shut up, and you just let the body keep moving, because it will. And then, you put the canoe in the Ottawa River, you paddle 8 kilometers down, and you get out and you finish with a 6-kilometer ruck march. And it's an incredible feeling when you cross that finish line and you've pushed yourself physically and mentally to do a 50-kilometer challenge like that. And I loved it. During the portage, I hated every step of the way. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. And then, I'm pretty sure within 5 minutes of finishing and getting some food into me, I probably told myself, great job.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment.
And I was probably already looking forward to training for
something else or the next thing.
The next big thing.
And what a great thing for you to be able to look back at and think, that was really fucking hard, but I did it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Are you done?
Are you done? I'm done.
I was going to try to keep this at 30 minutes, but I haven't even talked about myself.
There's lots. I know. Yeah, this is how it's going to go. This is supposed to be Allie's baby.
Well,
I love to talk. So.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, well, take it away, Allie.
Okay.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
A quick overview of myself. I was late to come into fitness. I played in high school a little bit of lacrosse, wasn't very good because I'm a slow runner, and some field hockey and stuff like that, mostly just for fun, because I'm not really competitive. Only against myself am I competitive, so people don't really like to play sports with me because I don't care about who wins, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Side note, it's honestly, it's why we are so incredibly compatible and mesh so well and do so well together, because I'm highly competitive, and
I don't care.
And she doesn't give a shit, and so we just work real easy.
Yeah. Although sometimes I do try to beat him when we're doing a workout, but then if he knows I'm trying to beat him, he just kicks my ass.
Take it up
so, anywho, so I didn't really start working out, doing almost like CrossFit style workouts, but not at an actual CrossFit. I went to a trainer in her home. I think I was maybe 25 when I started that, and I am now 36. So yeah, I was kind of late to come into fitness and stuff like that. But loved it once I started doing it, and things weren't so hard, because of course it felt really hard to do it for the first little bit. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Dave is distracting me with trying to take pictures or something. God. And started running and stuff. I don't know, I think I was maybe 26 or 27. Our good friend Kayla Dunford, who will probably also be on this show because she is a social worker, and we'll want to pick her brain about some mental health stuff and tips and tricks and stuff that she could share with us for sure. We started doing what we call Sunday Run Day. Every Sunday we would get together and run couple kilometers, maybe 5K, sometimes longer, and then we'd go out for brunch after. So that was how I started my running career. And I'm also an entrepreneur, which...
What's the name of the business?
My business name is All Tied Up Pet Services, and it started as a little dream. Actually, it started as a cleaning business to begin with. For the first year, I had a cleaning business called Allie's Cleaning Service. Because I hated my job in an office working in a toxic environment and reached my limit and thought this isn't for me. So I quit and I started a cleaning business. And I enjoyed aspects of that, but I knew I wasn't going to do that long term. And oddly enough, Kendra, our tech person, said we should start a dog walking business in our neighborhood. And a lot of people laughed at us and said that it was stupid, because this was before dog walking was really a thing, and it was we lived out in the country, so it wasn't really happening out there yet. And we got one client, then 2 clients, and for a long time we just had 2 clients, and we just worked around our schedules, and it slowly built from there to the point where I think maybe a year or so after we started that, I ditched all my cleaning clients and was just doing walking full time. Loving life, getting to be outside, which is also super important to me, and animals. And Kendra has a good job at the university here, and she was getting to a point where the walking was sort of too much for her, and I wanted to take on more. So the business became mine, and we remained friends, and that was all good. And then I was kind of getting bored. Like, just walking dogs all day is fine, but not really challenging. Like, I mean, some of the dogs are challenging because they pull and they're reactive, and so I would un unprofessionally train them because I wasn't a professional trainer, but I didn't want to be jerked around all day. So I was training them but not getting paid a good wage, and I didn't have the schooling behind me to say that I was a trainer, so I couldn't charge extra and all that sort of stuff. And then COVID hit and rocked everybody's worlds and messed up a whole bunch of shit. And my friend Cindy said, "Have you ever thought about becoming a trainer?" She'd seen me with dogs before. I had done classes and stuff with her. And I said, "I have, but I don't know where to start. There's so many online programs. I don't know what's good." And so she steered me in the right direction and actually was my mentor and still is my mentor for training. And I've been a certified trainer for the last 2 years. So I have had my dog walking business. This fall will be 9 years total, 10 years total working for myself, and 2 years as a certified trainer. And training is almost all I'm doing now. And I'm booking about almost 2 months in advance. Loving it. And was also ready to start a little side passion project that had nothing to do with animals, really. I mean, you might see Rue. And you might hear a dog bark because they're upstairs and they're mad that they're not included. But yeah, I kind of needed something different because unfortunately, just over 2 months ago, my brother, we lost my brother to suicide. So that's sort of rocked our worlds in ways that I don't even fully understand yet. So that's going to be a whole other episode, and it will come up here and there, and I'm not really ready to get into it tonight. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. We have 2 sons. We're a blended family. Landris is 20. He's Dave's son, and I have my son, Josh, who is 6, who is adopted, and we share custody with him 50-50 with his dad. So we do a week on here, and then he goes to his dad's for a week, and that works really well for us because we are all able to co-parent amazingly, and Josh is the center of it all, and we all get along, and that'll be a whole other episode too, the adoption process and infertility. What a fun time.
Yeah.
But it's all brought us here today, so
it's
all good.
And and as Ali says, like great family dynamic. We learn from our kids. I think being a parent, you end up,
it's nothing harder than being a parent.
There isn't. And you think you know yourself, and you think but you become a parent, and then you really know. You start to learn more and more about yourself, and through your kids is, I think, they're the ones that really teach you. Well, they teach you a lot of lessons that you aren't even aware that you need to learn.
Yeah.
but that's what they do, and they really develop. And this will be a key word that'll be returning in numerous episodes, and our journey along the way is patience. And and any parent can relate to that word, patience. And as I say, we'll come back to it. We'll circle back to it a lot throughout episodes, because being patient with yourself through various things, but as a parent, you have no choice but to learn patience, because children will push boundaries. They'll push, they'll try and they'll test, and that's their job. They want to see.
They're figuring out how the world works.
Exactly.
And they do that through you.
That's right. Yeah, they're figuring out. They're learning what this world means, and why rules are in place, and why they have to do this and that, and they'll push rules and see how far they can push things. And as a parent, you got to be patient along the way, and you just have to, and you adapt, and you understand, kind of how they're seeing things and how they're learning things, but it takes quite a bit of patience to take a step back and see it that way. that this is where their little brain is, or not even their little brain, sometimes their 20-year-old brain as well. That's where they're
Yeah.
that's where they're at, and
Yeah.
and you know, you just you have patience. So so again, parenting is probably the hardest job in the world.
We'll probably circle back to that too.
To parenting.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
So
40 minutes in, and
yeah,
and I mean, obviously this is our rough thing. So
no one's watching this.
We'll clean. No one's watching this, but we'll clean
Dave will
this
probably
up
watch it
tomorrow.
27 more times before he goes to bed tonight.
Yeah, just to hear my own voice.
Yeah. So what to expect from some upcoming episodes? We touched on a couple. We'll be interviewing other people in the military community, family, other first responders, some mental health professionals. None of these people, we haven't asked any of these people yet, so this is what we hope, anywho. Yeah, and we'll be talking in more detail about my brother and things like that, and what I'm doing right now, which is this little ruck called Ruck for Colin. I'm on a ruck streak where I'm doing a minimum of 2K a day for him, just talking about mental health and suicide prevention, and letting other people know that it is okay, that this kind of thing is going on, and that it affects everyone, even if you don't think it is. So, but I'm going to get into that later. How to find us on social media.
Yeah, we're going to figure that out.
We're going to... on our Instagram, on our Instagram account,
when we create
it'll
our
be
Instagram
Ruck
account
and Rise.
in the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
Ruck and Rise, yeah.
And we're gonna end tonight's episode with a quote.
And this will be an ongoing sort of trend at the end of each episode. Something to kind of leave off with motivational wise, and this one's kind of neat because this comes from an 11-year-old. I grew up in Northern Ontario, and a good friend of mine that I went to high school with, her daughter, again, going back to parenting, I think, there's just amazing parents out there doing amazing things with their kids. And you can tell that this 11-year-old Emma is on the right track and headed in the right direction just by... at the beginning of the school year, she was asked to sort of come up with a quote that she wanted to sort of, abide by or live by throughout the year. And I'm pretty certain she did just that. And this quote says, "The only one who can tell you can't win is you, and you don't have to listen." I think that's just fantastic. I think awesome. It's awesome, and even more fantastic that it came from an 11-year-old, and an 11-year-old has that mindset.
Yeah, it's pretty profound.
So yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that for tonight, and hope you enjoyed hearing me and a little bit of Allie.
I'll try to rein him in.
Okay, we'll see you soon on Ruck and Rise.
Smell you later.